this will be important.
In my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady. Oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home far away.
Hey y'all, welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jen.
And today I want to talk to you all about tomato starts. We are very, very close to planting the things in the ground here in Kentucky in 6B. Again, like we've mentioned before, we're in 6B, but also places in New England are 6B. So don't go by that, go by your zip code on your last frost date. We have just passed ours.
Yep, ours was Monday.
Yep, so we usually give it 1 week after the frost date. Now our 10-day looks fine. It looks like we're gonna be in the clear, but we like to give another week just to be real sure that no little Kentucky freeze decides to slap in there. So we are really planning on getting everything in the ground. You might be too. So whether you started your tomato plants, whether you're buying your tomato plants, this will be important. All right, if you go shopping for tomato plants, you probably won't see many this size. You're probably gonna see more like this. Big, established, nice tomato plants. So which is better? And does it matter? But before we do that, we need to show you something else.
So we've told y'all about these grow bags. We absolutely love them. You can get them on Amazon, and the reason we like them so much is because they allow your roots to not be disturbed. So a lot of things are fine when you transplant. Some things just don't like their roots being touched a whole lot. So if you put them in the, like these cups, it's okay, but you're still gonna have to get them out before you put them in the ground. You have to be super duper careful. With these, you put these straight into the ground and they compost down. It does take a while, about a year or more, but by the next year that you're ready to put your tomatoes in, it'll all be fine. So you see a whole lot in this tray, and that is not the best thing. That's what we've learned in the last few years. These are still okay because they're very small, but we are gonna space these out. But what happens when they're really close together like this and right up on each other is tomato roots, they're already doing it a little bit, you can see, they start expanding all over the place. So the roots start going into the next bag and the next bag, and then you have a whole big cluster of basically a tomato bush. So we have separated them, but it's best to do it when they're small, not big. We have some really big ones that we separated, and it was basically like a transplant shock for them. They were a little bit wilty and pitiful looking for a few days, and then they went back to normal. So it is okay, but it's best to just go ahead and space them out and prevent that, any kind of transplant shock, because you're already gonna have transplant shock when you put them out in the wind or the elements or the rain and all that good stuff.
So if you're sitting there watching this and you're like, oops, I have plants this big in grow bags that tight together, it's okay. But what you need to do is you need to separate them and give them 2 to 3 days to recover before you put them in the ground.
Yeah.
Because what's gonna happen is if you separate them, go straight to the ground, you're like double shocking it.
Yeah.
So you have root disturbance. See how they're all hanging out there? You're gonna have root disturbance from just separating them. Some are gonna break. Tomatoes don't like that. And then you're gonna be putting them outside and they're gonna have transplant shock. Even if they're 100% hardened off, you're gonna get a little bit of transplant shock. So it's okay, just separate them now and then leave them in wherever you are inside your house, in your greenhouse, and let them recover, because they're gonna wilt down and not look pretty, and then they'll come back.
Yeah. And when you do separate them, don't rip them apart.
Right.
Just slowly try to let them integrate and let the roots go whichever way they want to go, instead of just like completely ripping all their little limbs away.
Exactly. Just kind of like you would at the very first time of separating the seedlings. So say you put 2 or 3 in a little bitty spot and you're trying to transplant them up, you know, you just very easily, gently take the soil off until the roots just kind of loosen themselves up together. So you're okay. I want to show you what ours looks like after we've separated them. So these are basically ready for the ground. And as you can tell, we really spaced them out. That way the roots can't attach one another. But that's what they look like once you separate them. That's what you want to do before you put them in the ground. Just don't have the paper bags touching each other, and then you won't have any worry about root bounding. All right, are y'all ready for the true blown tip that you can't Google? You're not going to find it. And there might be some people that are out there that are saying what we're going to say, but this is strictly a Stivers Homestead technique that we are trying to introduce you to. So when you go to a nursery, you're going to find a tomato that looks a lot like this. Probably actually even bigger. You might even see the bad boy flowering already.
Or on a cage already.
Yeah, on a cage and ready, and they're gonna charge an incredible amount of money for that. I mean, upwards of $20 for one tomato plant because it's big and pretty. I'm telling you right now, buy this one. Buy the smaller start that has got its true leaves, that's been hardened off, but is smaller. This thing, we charge $3 for all of our plants, but I'm talking about if you're going out to buy them or whatever it is. This one is gonna cost you less because it doesn't look as strong, but I promise you, this tomato will beat this tomato. And the whole point of it is, in our opinion, this goes through less transplant shock than the bigger starts. And you might have your own opinions on whatever that may be, but I'm telling you right now, from our experience, the smaller starts always catch up.
Yep.
And they have the least amount of impact when it comes to actually getting them into your garden.
And they're not slower. They're all going to flower and produce fruit at the same time.
Yep, exactly. That's what it really boils down to, is because you want your fruit the fastest. So you're like, I need the big one because I will get the tomato at the same time, is what you're going to get with the smaller versus the big. You're going to save money when you buy them, and you're going to have less heartache when you're putting them in the ground. Last year, we put our Bonnie's Best in there.
They were huge. They were probably twice or triple this size.
We probably could have sold them for $10 to $15 a plant because they were so big. The ones that look like this, beat them.
Yeah, and if you remember last year, we had a whole lot of trouble with them, and it was because they were too big. When we put them out in the garden beds, the wind got to them. They were so big and floppy and top heavy that they just started leaning, and the leaves started curling and wilting. It was terrible because those were our prized tomatoes. They did so good. We grew them from seed and they got so big, and then we almost threw them all away. Most of them did come back, but a few didn't.
We got about two harvests out of them later in the year that were really good, but we missed probably 2 at the beginning that we could have had a lot of tomatoes because they went through so much shock. So you may be telling yourself, we're just rambling out of our mouth because our stalks weren't strong enough and the wind shouldn't have impacted them, or we didn't harden them off good enough. I promise you, all of that stuff was 100% done. We had, as you can tell, that is a nice solid stalk on a tomato plant. And even last year, they were even bigger stalks. So they were strong tomato plants, but they were pampered for so long in their life. Think about any other thing. If you're pampered for a long amount of time in your life, it's harder to adjust to something new. If you get change early in life, it's easier to adjust and change with it. Whether you're hardened off, whether you know it's coming, any of that. When you're put into that real situation, the younger you are, the easier it is to adapt.
Yep, and weirdly, plants are the same way.
Exactly. So much about plants, gardening is like 100% replica of your real life.
Yeah, very metaphorical.
Yes. So that was quick, but it might be one of the biggest key factors that you can do when you're planting your garden. This is how you will grow the most successful tomato plants that you possibly can in your garden, by buying this plant rather than that plant. I know it sounds silly, but I hope you believe some of the stuff we have and just try it.
Yeah.
Try one bed with your bigger starts, try another bed with maybe some smaller starts, and see what happens. I guarantee you this one will catch up and beat the big one.
Yep. A little tomato psychology.
Yeah, a little tomato psychology. But you know, we wanted to, hey Ray, we wanted to roll off the gardening and relating to real life, because there's so many situations that all of us are about to come across in our garden that we face in real life as well. Transplant shock, too much rain, too much wind, disruption, anger, frustration, happiness. So as you're going through your garden, and that's a place that we all at least myself and Jen, find peace and relaxation.
And most of you do too.
Yeah.
And if you haven't found that yet, then you will this year.
That's exactly right. Continue to do it because it's there, and there's nothing better than sitting in your garden after a hard day's work, rescuing a baby, and then sitting back and watching the fruit of your labors just continue to grow. You know, it's so many times I look at the plants like I look at my kids. And I know that sounds silly, but it's honest. It's something that you're proud of. Be proud of your garden this year. Be happy, be respectful of it. It'll be respectful to you.
Yeah, and don't get overwhelmed because that time is coming. But we're all in it together, and now more than ever, it is important to grow your food. So if you're just a random person and you caught this video and you're like, wow, these people are crazy about tomatoes, it's not just tomatoes we're
First
crazy
off,
about.
it's true.
It's the whole garden. But it is a very important time to grow your food. I don't care if you don't have raised beds. I don't care if you don't have a tiller. Get yourself a 5-gallon bucket and go ahead and start you some tomatoes or whatever it is that your family buys most produce from the store in the summertime. Grow your family some food and make that an absolute priority. It's not difficult. You know, like if you're new, you can follow us and we'll take you along. We'll show you all the bad things that happen and the good things, and we'll wrap it all up and we'll all end the season with hopefully a lot of vegetables.
That's exactly right. We're about to hit that point where it's chaos. Everything's going in the garden. Then it's the waiting game.
Yep.
Right? It's nobody die. Let's get to fruit. So we'll take you along with that the whole way. We'll show you more little tips and tricks that we've learned along the way, like smaller starts versus bigger starts. We'll show you fertilizers. We'll show you how to keep weeds down. We'll show you all of that fun stuff. So if you like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. We'll be pumping out all kinds of stuff. And of course, we got all the animals as well.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, y'all. Quick and easy, nice little tip for you on how to grow the best tomato starts and the best tomato that you can this year.
Yep.
We love you.
We love y'all.
Until the next one.
Bye.
Bye.